Okay, I wanted to spend a little bit of time and introduce the business policy course for the fall 23 semester. So you will find, if you haven't already, the syllabus in the content section on Blackboard, also in the syllabus section on Blackboard. So I'm going to share a screen with you and just go through some of it and hopefully share some expectations. Okay, so basically, pretty much every syllabus you've read, professor reserves the right to change and whole or in part any aspect of the course with no further notice, and so on and so forth. All submissions, must be sent as an attachment to Blackboard. So if it's a Word document, attach it to my NJCU email as a Word document, PowerPoint. It's a PowerPoint document. You get the idea. I don't want to get into the idea of using, these, obscure and shared sites, Google share this, share that, share. We're just not going to do it that way. So we don't use Dropbox for assignments and deliverables, and we use the NJCU email as our primary vehicle and do the attachments. All right, couple of things. The textbook, which has been chosen for you by the university, is a McGraw-Hill text by Rothenmel. It is Strategic Management, 6th edition. You will notice in the content section on Blackboard that there are several assignments. All of them are reading assignments. None of them have questions assigned to them or quizzes or things like this. So it's primarily reference driven based on topics that we will be covering. There are some pretty handy reference texts that you can use as sources. And a lot of this stuff is it's older textbooks by different publishers and so forth. When we had the academic freedom to choose the textbook for the course, I used to use Thompson Strickland. I think they're particularly good authors and professors and experts in the field and so forth. And they spend an awful lot of time talking about strategy and competitive advantage, which oddly enough is the essence of business policy. So if you can find one of the older editions for $5 or something like this on half.com, it's not a bad book to have on your shelf. But in any event, this text has been chosen for you, and the reading assignments are generated from that. Now, we had been using CapSim, a simulation program that has had mixed reviews. In my experience with students, some students liked it because you had the opportunity to compete in some, characteristically classroom-driven ways with other students from other universities, but the element of competition was kind of cool. It was a replacement for a national benchmark, which was the major fields test that compared students from universities across the country, and and it was really a perspective on the university as to whether the students were actually being exposed to the material they ought to be exposed to, and so forth. But that ended a while back, and it was replaced with this CapSim. Now, there were some students that absolutely hated it. A couple of students that actually, depending on the professor, had to repeat the course in a second semester because they just were not as plugged into CapSim as perhaps they wanted to be. All of this to say, this will not be an issue for you. I say again, this will not be an issue for you because we are not using CapSim this semester. So where you see references to CapSim, just ignore that. All right, let's talk a little bit, and I'm not going to read you everything in the syllabus. You can certainly do that, but description of the course bears some scrutiny, and the part that I want to draw your attention to is down here. And the essence of policy or business policy as much as anything else is that it is about the quest for and delivery of competitive advantage. Okay, that's the bottom line. The course is designed to examine the strategies used by firms to create and maintain this competitive advantage. So the purpose of the course you can read through, but we will be, and this would be a good heads up for you, prior learning in the School of Business and your management courses in particular involve things like BCG matrix, the Boston Consulting Group matrix, Porter's Five Forces, Porter's value chain analysis, SAP ETOP. Many people worked with SWOT and will during the semester highlight some of the differences. VDM or value driven management, and then again this learning model, CAPSIM, which we will not be doing this semester, but good time to start blowing the dust off some of this stuff and refreshing yourself, because you will be using some of that. You can read the learning outcomes and so forth. Prerequisites, if any, are per the university curriculum handbook. Now, attendance, since this course is well, it's online and it is non-synchronous, asynchronous online, meaning there are no formalized class sessions. Well, that puts a little bit of pressure on you, because you're going to have the skill and determination to want to get through some of this stuff. I will be setting up a schedule of voluntary, and I emphasize voluntary, Zoom classes. And sometimes I get an email from a student saying, "Hey, professor, look, I'm really confused about that." Well, that's what these voluntary Zoom sessions are for, or Zoom classes are for. So as you get around to it, if you have the opportunity, once I publish the schedule, try to pop into a voluntary Zoom session, and we can unconfuse some things that may from time to time seem confusing. The other thing is that feel free to reach out to me via email. And the quickest response is email to my Gmail account. But email me if you're in a jam or you're feeling lost or something like this. We can always set up a private Zoom and work through whatever the issue has to be. All right. So no reason to, hide behind a rock and so forth. So just, stay in touch. Let's do that. Written assignments. Well, written assignments as such will be done this way. APA 7th is the style sheet for the School of Business, which requires a certain amount of objectivity, citations, reference section, et cetera, et cetera. And we'll talk some more about that, I'm sure, during the semester. Grading. I had never, when I taught the course, put emphasis on the CAPSIM exam. So there were no points. There was no reason a student was going to have to repeat the course because they did badly on CAPSIM in my classes, because I just put no weight on it. It's a great learning experience. Arguably, it was a fun tool to use. But it's one of those things that, I just didn't find value in making it punitive, especially since this was kind of a standalone and was not directly controlled by the professor of the course and so forth. So, again, nothing that you have to worry about. So we're going to award with the possibility of 100 points max, where you can look at it in terms of percentage, 100%. 20 points for different taskings, and the taskings will be potentially a midterm, potentially some videos that you're tasked to watch and possibly do some kind of an analysis on. There will be 20 points or 20% for participation, which in the context of non-synchronous online means the discussion board. There will be 20 points for a case analysis of VDM, or value-driven management, written by Dr. Randy Pullman, and 40 points for this final project, which typically is PowerPoint supported by about a 10-page paper. So let's talk about a couple of things. One of the things I want to discuss is this final deliverable or final project. So here's the thing. A couple of semesters ago, I realized watching students and actually watching my own grandkids and so forth. I noticed that no matter what, especially my granddaughter Ava, no matter what or where, it's this. It's selfies, it's videos, it's you get the idea. And so a couple of semesters ago, I thought, we use such dated technology sometimes, and what do? Well, at the end of the semester, student has to do a 10 to 15 page paper. Oh yeah, what is yours? At the end of the semester, student has to do a PowerPoint presentation. Typical stuff. And I thought, geez, you guys, which is meant to say your generation, not all this gray hair here. You guys are in some ways in particular so much smarter than my generation or, later generations, older generations, especially when it comes to technology. So in terms of a final deliverable, it occurred to me, why would I force you to write a paper when there are other options available? Now here's the thing. Some people like to write. Some people are comfortable writing. Some people write well. Some people choose to write. If that's you, and for your final deliverable, you're most comfortable writing a paper, 10-page paper, APA 7, then by all means, that'll be the vehicle you'll use. Some people are comfortable with PowerPoint because been doing it for so many years. So create a PowerPoint and either support it with a multiple page paper, which is to say 7 to 10 page paper, for all the detail that is referenced by the bullets on the PowerPoint slides, or you can work extensively with Notes View where you can put all this detail that doesn't otherwise appear on the PowerPoint slide. Or here's the thing, and I did this a couple of semesters ago, and some of the students just did extraordinary work. Or you can do, in essence, what is a podcast. I'll call it that. Basically a selfie video that you either upload to YouTube or something like this, and ultimately you'd be doing, I suppose in a way you're almost like a news reporter. So you're going to do your final project on this video, presumably with notes in front of you, whatever, and that's all fine. And you're going to send it to me as an MP4 file. I'm going to leave the choice up to you. The choice is going to be yours. Paper, PowerPoint supported by a paper, or this, let's call it video option. And that's whatever makes life better for you, whatever makes life easier for you. So those are some of the options. Now, there will be some additional readings, and most of this will end up in contents. Sometimes it'll just be noted in a message or an announcement, go find this, read about that, and so forth. So, go through some of this. This is boilerplate stuff mostly in the syllabus, but go through some of this stuff and get a perspective on what our expectations are for this year. Now I'm going to try and give you a perspective on class schedule, and we'll somewhat try and stick to this as best we can. I do want to make a note about students or special needs students. Office of Special Services, room 105 in Cornelius Hall. Ms. Jennifer Aiken is the person you would want to be talking to if there are issues that you need to resolve that. Hold on just a second. Okay. All right, so, session 1, session 2, session 3, and so forth. This is pretty simple. Where it says read, well, you're being told to read. Read what? Well, again, out of this textbook, excuse me, that's been chosen for you. Chapter 1, what is strategy? And there sometimes will be some specific notes on, particular aspects I'm after. As far as case analysis, read, and in the contents section, you will find Michael Porter's Competitive Advantage of Nations. Now, it's available in the NJCU library databases, and I usually try and make it available in the contents section on Black. So if it's not there, it will be soon. Assignment, write 5 pages on the Porter article. So after you get done reading about Competitive Advantage of Nations, basically you're doing an analysis of what that is. 5 pages ought to do it. Write mission and vision statements of 5 publicly traded companies. So pick 5 companies. Maybe it's General Motors as one. Maybe it's AT&T as another. Maybe Microsoft as another. But 5 publicly traded companies, mission and vision for each. And then there was a line, sign into and create a CAPSIM account if required. Well, we already know we're not doing that, so that is not required. September 12th, final day for 100% refund for ad drop. So it's the end of 100% ad drop period. And on September 13th, the W or withdrawal period begins. Okay, session 2, in essence, week 2. Read chapter 2, strategy process, and the assignments. Well, submit. Submit what? Well, submit the 5 mission vision statements that you had to write from back here. So you're going to submit those. Post what? Post to the discussion board on competitive advantage of nations and so forth. And so then you'll see, different concepts and things we're going to be looking for, assignments, research and read, BCG matrix, and plenty of information on Google on this stuff and so forth in session 3, session 4, et cetera, and it takes us all the way through. So during the semester, we'll go through some of these things. If you're lost, reach out and we will set up some kind of a Zoom and try and clear up any lack of clarity and concern that you have. There is no CAPSIM final because we are not doing CAPSIM, so none of that becomes an issue. There was a certificate or a certification of authorship, against plagiarism. So I'd appreciate it if you attach that to the works that you submit. And aside from that, just take a look through this and we will work through it week by week, step by step, and I will be sending out a schedule of the optional, not required Zoom sessions for the class. And again, reach out to me with any concerns. Use my NJCU email for anything formal. If you need a very quick response, the quickest way, I probably check my Gmail, 100 times a day. So if it's really urgent, try and send something to my Gmail. But always let me know this is so-and-so from this class because I'm dealing with several hundred students. And hi, Professor, this is Joe. Okay, yeah, got it. So in any event, it'll be a good semester, fun semester. Reach out with any concerns, and I'll be sending out some additional information shortly. Have a good day.